God.
It's incredible. This story from the Star Casino, a freakish result. 6 of Asia's high-rolling gamblers have enjoyed a golden run. And in this case, they were able to strip the Star of nearly $80 million in profit over a 6-month period. Now, we know these casinos are always keen to encourage the high rollers, to lure them here with the free jets and the holidays and the accommodation and everything else. And so they do have to expect from time to time they will lose, but they wouldn't anticipate losses of this magnitude. Now, evidently some of them playing their favoured game of Baccarat, betting up to $500,000 a hand, and eventually taking the Star for nearly $80 million in profit over a 6-month period. Pablo Clavijo is the director of OMG Gaming and Entertainment, has worked in the casino industry for 20 years, and I'm pleased to say is on the line. Pablo, good afternoon.
Stuart, hi, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. If we look at this more generally, the attraction of high rollers to casinos, what is the big lure?
The big lure, I guess, it's, as you mentioned, the money. The money, how much money they can wager on a per hand, on a particular hand, at any given time. So, like you said, there could be a $500,000 minimum wager for a customer, for one of our, I guess, in any casino. And it could be higher, perhaps, I guess, if it's a personalized limit. And it is what it is. It's basically all about, okay, so they can bet X amount of money, and on these games, it's just how much money they can bet.
And so a situation like that, you've got casinos all over the world who are aggressively marketing against each other to try and attract as many of these high rollers as they can?
Look, of course, I guess in places like Macau and in the States, yeah, of course, everyone is fighting for these customers, for these guests who are very, very valuable to their business. So, yeah, definitely they will do whatever it takes to get these customers into their casinos.
When you talk about high rollers, and $500,000 a hand just seems extraordinary, but would there be a limit imposed by casinos? I mean, is the sky the limit if you are betting in a high rollers room?
I would say that each casino in each state and each country would have its own laws.
Right.
Okay. However, once it's agreed as to what the limit could be, it could be an unlimited game. So basically, they could bet whatever amount that they've agreed to, and the laws in each country and each casino allow them to do.
Now, in this case, it seems to be that the favoured game of the high rollers, we know Kerry Packer, when he was alive, always enjoyed playing Baccarat. What is it specifically about Baccarat that seems to be the game of choice for many of these high rollers?
The simplicity of the game. It's basically like a heads or tails game, except it's player or banker. So, and all, the player sees the cards, that excitement, I guess, of an anticipation, especially once the wagers go down. And when you're looking into as you mentioned, $500,000 wagers, it can get very, very exciting, and winning and losing. And, it's a combined thing. It's not the game itself, I guess. It's just the whole atmosphere, the whole game, the whole process of it.
And they enjoy the simplicity, because it seems to me a game like blackjack has that sort of balance of a little bit of skill, but also a game of chance. And it strikes me as a more interesting game than Baccarat, and yet Baccarat is the game that's favoured by the serious players around the world. Yeah,
because of the fact, like we said, on blackjack, they wouldn't bet $500,000 on per hand.
Yeah.
Baccarat they can.
Well, that's right. If you're suddenly doubling or splitting at $500,000 a hand, well, that makes it a very expensive. You're basically doubling your money potentially.
Well, yeah, I guess if they were allowed to, and these guests have got the money to bet,
yes,
they will probably bet it. But at this time, I think that Baccarat is the game. It's the game
yes,
for the high rollers. It's the game that the casinos around the world like, and because our customers and the guests love this game, then they will focus on the game. But, if tomorrow was blackjack, I assure you that Baccarat would be on the behind shelf, and blackjack would be on the front shelf. So.
And tell me, when we talk about the high rollers room, what sort of bets do you need to get entry to the high rollers room?
Look, once again, each individual casino around the world, they would have their own criteria and their own laws according to what the government will let them do. Okay, so here in Australia, we have a certain guidelines that we need to abide by, and we need to make sure that we abide by those criteria. So it's a case by case thing. So you know, one person might be different criteria. They might have different ways of. Okay, I want to buy for this amount. So they're going to have the different personal limit.
Right.
It's on a case-by-case basis.
And I suppose, you know, there are high rollers and then there are these mega whales. I'm assuming people betting $500,000 a hand, they would be, again, in another private room, another sort of offshoot of the high rollers room, would they?
I am sure, yes. I'm sure that each and every casino around the world would treat these customers and these guests is VIP.
Yes,
you know,
yeah.
They wouldn't be a normal VIP person. These guys would be extremely looked after very well because, you know, they're obviously very important to each individual business.
Do you tend to find it's predominantly men, or are there some women who want to bet big amounts on games like Baccarat?
Look, in the end, whoever's got the money will come in. It's men, mostly obviously men would probably play. But I assure you that if there is women out there, it's not a gender based. You know, if they've got the money, they like the game, and if they like to be entertained by playing these sort of games or participating in these waging tables, they would do it. I don't think there is a gender for it, you know.
Yeah.
But obviously, because most male are doing it, I guess in a way, yes, it will be a male.
Yes.
More males are playing it, yes.
And tell me, when they do play, I mean, if you're betting, talking about these sorts of large amounts, and you are betting, do they tend to want to play on their own, just with the dealer? Will they bring friends with them? Are they happy to have it more publicly? What tends to be the etiquette around all of that?
Look, once again, it all depends on the guest, okay? The guests, if they want to bring their friends or their entourage, any casino around the world will accommodate to that.
Right,
okay?
yeah.
And they will give them whatever they require. Everything is at their disposal, of course, because they are VIPs and we want to look after them. But then you're going to have your private players. If they don't want anyone else, you know, they just want to be on their own. They want to, this is what they like, and they want privacy. And, of course, if the privacy is there, we will do whatever it takes. Any casino around the world will do whatever it takes to make sure that their privacy is protected.
Now, we always hear the house always inevitably wins. They wouldn't have been built if it wasn't for that case. Is it unusual where a casino might have a losing streak, so to speak, where the cards just don't go their way and fall the player's way? And longer term, can it be beneficial for the casino? Because I'm sure those customers leave very happy and come back.
Well, look, it is a numbers game, okay? So do the casinos lose? Of course they lose, and they lose big, okay? But, you know, obviously when you say it's time, it's all about, because it's all about probability, it's all about time and play. So, you know, we give them, make sure that they're comfortable because the casinos want these customers to stay longer. Or the longer they play, we are hoping to get that money back, maybe a little bit more. But do they win? They win big, of course. The casinos lose a lot of money all the time. So it's not, and you know, it's in their interest. The casinos like to see people win, because when people win, you know, it's a good image for the casino.
Yes.
It's not like, oh yeah, we're just taking your money, we just doing this. No, it is. It's not just about the casino trying to trick people, or the casinos are trying to do this. It's the casino. They want people to make sure that yes, there is a fairness. You know, but it's a business, and they have to make some money, and you know, the people bet and people lose, and that's just the way it goes in there. So, yeah.
And when you talk about those who are manning those tables, the croupiers, particularly in the high rollers room, I tell you, they'll be very experienced. They'll have probably worked on the regular gaming floor and have worked their way up effectively, have they?
Look, those would be our VIP dealers. In any casino around the world, we want to put the best of the best. If you can understand, any error made on one of those tables on a $500 hand, I think that the customer would not see that very well. And, of course, the casinos would put their best, the creme de la creme of dealers. You know, they're the best of supervisors, the best of the pit bosses, if you want to call them. Basically, the best of the best are on those rooms to make sure that the customer gets that experience, you know, of professionalism and error-free, okay, and seamless. Everything has to be effortless.
Yeah, well, it's a fascinating area. Would most of the Australian casinos at any point have some of these high rollers in their midst visiting on a fairly regular basis?
Look, Sydney, Australia itself, it's a paradise, I believe, for this type of customers because Australia itself is such a beautiful country, okay? Nowhere in the world can people, or in the world, can they offer our views, can offer our people. I mean, as you know, here in Australia, we don't even allow to, dealers aren't even allowed to accept tips.
No.
Okay, but our customer service in all the casinos in Australia is just outstanding because it's just the way that the Australian people are. We're very friendly, very accommodating, and it's just done because of our culture and our nature. And this is about us giving that guest experience to our customers. So, yeah, look, Australia would be the best place. And this is why they're coming over here, because of that experience. They can't get this experience anywhere else. And mind you, Australia is competing against casinos all over the world.
Yes.
Macau, you've got Vegas. How big are they? Yet we are doing very, very, very well here in Australia. And, Mr. Packer is opening up Barangaroo, of course. Other casinos are being opened up in being even renovated and being fixed up in Queensland. So, yeah, look, I think that definitely this industry is a growing industry and fantastic for people that want to come into this industry and really get involved into this part of such a niche and exciting industry.
Yeah, great stuff. Well, look, it's lovely chatting with you. I appreciate your time.
Stuart, my pleasure. You have a fantastic day.
Thank you. Pablo Clavijo, who's the director of OMG Gaming and Entertainment. I mean, it's another world. I mean, my idea of high rolling is probably $50 a hand playing blackjack. That'd do me, but $500,000 a hand, and it's basically all just laid on for them. But in the case of Star City, and as he says, the casinos like winners because they want the repeat business. They don't want to feel as if everyone leaves as losers because they know winners breeds return business, and invariably the house does catch up with them, but there's always the prospect of winning. And I think they've done a very good job with the changes they've made, the restaurants that are there. Obviously, you've got some terrific shows as well. I think it's a great venue for Sydney, the casino. But in this case, they had a winning run, that the gamblers, $80 million in profits over a 6-month period. And you go back with James Packer, the majority owner of Crown Resorts, and it was only a year or two back at a shareholders meeting, he was saying that the punters are killing us after a lucky streak among some of the VIP gamblers. Saw them taking more money than had been expected. So, they've always got the ability to find the money from somewhere else, and the bad run of luck will affect casinos from time to time. But longer term, the more you play, the closer you get to the casino's edge winning out.